Go
All right.
ahead. Keep
Yeah.
talking.
We'll start a little later, guys. A little later. All right. It's all good.
Oh man, I sound sexy, dude.
Is there a lot of reverb? How do I sound now? Cause am I low? It looks low on my side on our stream.
Sometimes you have reverb.
No, but right now, remember it might be a little behind. You're gonna have to cause you're hearing me right now on Skype. He's gonna make me like I can't really listen because I'm streaming on Twitch. So I can't listen to it myself. It's gonna be terrible. We're gonna be like, nah, my ears.
Yeah, Tiger Claw's right. You sound like you're in an empty hall.
I do. Right now, still. Does this make a difference here?
Well, I gotta wait till the stream catches up.
Oh, he forgot to turn off the reverb on his plugin.
Awesome.
Thanks, Obama. I'm like, there's no way. I went through tons of testing this week, and I'm like, this has to be the best solution. But are you still listening to the stream, Stan? Does this sound better when I do this? Does it sound more warm? Yeah, Winamp has those little fancy plugins and DSPs. Winamp is awesome.
I hear just a faintness of a high pitch thing in the background.
That's probably the fan.
Okay.
I mean, that's the concession. It won't come up in the stream as much because I have the noise gate on the stream for Twitch. But
Dude,
I haven't.
It hurts my brain to try to listen to you talk twice at the same time. I cannot separate the signals.
You can turn off the stream now. That's just to see. So sound quality is good then, right? Okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
Just go with it. I've turned off the stream. I can't handle it, man. My brain cannot multitask listening.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Tiger Claw. It's good to know that we have people paying attention, even though he scared me. I'm like, there's no way it can't be bad. No, it just can't be bad. All right, so we got this ready. And some last checks. Stream is steady on Shoutcast on /allgames. No, we did not start early. We're just doing a pre-show. We're still doing a pre-show. We're about to start officially now. You're about to hear one of the many wonderful bumpers that we have. What just happened? Oh, that scared me. Stan.
Yep.
Oh, you're putting. You know when you do that, you like throw everything, push everything down. So it made me lose my place.
Oh, sorry, dude. Hey, can you turn the chat on in the document?
The what?
The chat in the document.
I can. I guess. If I must. I'm kidding.
Alright.
Hold on. Every time I'm about to get started, get warmed up, you're like, but wait! I'm gonna put a burrito in the oven. But wait!
Oh man, I can turn my iPad on and try to monitor Twitch.
Yeah. I usually do that.
I just need another iPad and then I can do both channels.
It's not letting me set up chat in here for some reason.
Is there an app for all games?
An app? For, for iTunes?
For iPad. For all games.
Yeah. Oh, not for all games. For Twitch there is. Oh. You could just message me on Skype. The thing is, I have it on Do Not Disturb because I don't want all the Skype sounds to come up in the stream. That gets annoying after a while. All right. Thanks for that, TC. We're officially live on the air. All right, so here we go. We're gonna open up one of the many wonderful bumpers that we have. Me gusta. That's right. For those that don't know, that's Spanish for I like it. All right, last check. All right, muting the mics and see you in a bit. That means you too, Stan.
Gotcha.
You're about to listen to the Timey-Wimey Tea Time Podcast, a geekyantics.net and allgames.com production. Find out what everyone's talking about. The Doctor, of course. Doctor Who? Exactly, that Doctor. Join us live at www.twitch.tv/geekyantics. That's GeekyAntics. Hang out with us, ask questions, laugh, and have at it. We can't wait to hear what's on your minds and hearts.
Timey-Wimey Tea Time.
Gusta.
Greetings and welcome to Timey-Wimey Tea Time, where friends gather to talk about all things Doctor Who, sci-fi, fantasy, zombies, creative writing, and everything geek. This is episode 6, and today is September 27th, 2014. I'm Yomar Lopez, a artist formerly known as YogiZilla. I'm still YogiZilla, but I use my full name here because this is more about the human side of social media and life and things that are beautiful and poetic and etc. etc. I'm also joined here by Stan Faryna. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. But just a quick introduction. He is the poetic voice of Gallifrey, or so he claims. I still haven't seen his Gallifreyan credentials, but I trust him as a friend, so I'm going to believe him on that.
Thanks, dude.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, bro?
Dead air.
Dead air. Yes, he's the purveyor of dead air. Epic dead air. I'll edify you. Okay, I know you don't. You're like me. You don't like tooting your own horn. So Stan is aspiring sci-fi novelist, social media maven, and a really swell guy. He's got a big heart.
Thank you, dude. And Yomar?
No, me. No. Me, I'm just some guy.
Nah, you are the founder of Geeky Antics.
And I also dabble with writing as well, every now and then.
Yes, you do.
Lately, I've been stepping up my Twitch game, if you notice, getting back into that. I don't know. People think it's weird, but it's just something different about it. It's kind of like what we do here, you know, and we're doing the Timey-Wimey Tea Time on Twitch, as well as allgames.com, by the way. But, you know, this is something nice about having that live chat experience. It's just a whole different thing. Pre-recording is cool, and it's a different dynamic, and it may lend itself better to higher production value. But just having that live engagement just really, I don't know, it draws you in. But yeah, let me be clear here. We're on allgames.com right now, live. We're putting candy in people's ears.
Oh, yeah.
We are massaging their eardrums, hopefully. Stan more so than I, but that's okay. And we're also on twitch.tv/geekyantics. And in the future, we hope to be able to dual or triple stream to Geeky Antics channel on Twitch, the All Games Radio Network. I think on Twitch they're All Games Network Video. Yeah, All Games Network Video on Twitch, and also my channel, my personal channel, YogiZilla, which I'm streaming to right now as well, thanks to OP Andy, aka SpathyZilla, who's saying we should nerf you because you're OP, Stan. That has no comments. The Timey-Wimey Tea Time experience, TWTT for short, and henceforth we'll refer to it as that to, you know, make it a little easier. It flows easier. TWTT, right? And they both have the nice little poetry to them. Timey-Wimey Tea Time, TWTT. But anyway, our experience can be enjoyed every Saturday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's the West Coast here in the States. 5 p.m. in London and 7 p.m. in Bucharest. So let's go over real quickly what to expect. And if you're new here, this will let you know what awaits you, and where you can skip ahead if you need to. Here's the adventure we'd like to take you on today. Come along, won't you? In the first half, we're gonna keep doing a little more banter, which I think we're pretty much done with the banter for now, because we have a lot of stuff to cover today. Then we're gonna go into some comments and reflections. We love the community. Our community's been super engaged. I'm actually surprised, excited, and grateful for how engaged this community has been. We're only at 6. Actually, technically we're 7 episodes in. That's not even counting the bonus shows and the extra stuff. Yeah, and we already have tons of people leaving voicemail messages and YouTube comments, forums messages. I mean, people don't really use forums, but they come for the forums for us. And I'll tell you something. They're tweeting. I mean, social media used the right way. It's exciting. all the love, man. All the love. We also do every show. We do this. So if you listened to us before, we're gonna try to condense this. But for our new listeners, we like to always do an introduction to the Doctor, because a lot of people don't know what Doctor Who is. So we hope that that's the main part of what we talk about. And we hope that our little intro to the Doctor, to Doctor Who, who's who, as we like to call it, will give you a little. Well, maybe make our passion for Doctor Who more contagious, or at least open your mind up to it. Because I know a lot of people are still on the fence about it. Like, it seems really cheesy. It seems, I don't know. So hopefully we could give you the lowdown there and make it clear why there's so much hubbub about the show. Then we'll share ways you can connect with us. We'll do a brief intro to Series 8 of Doctor Who, and then we'll start to get into Series 8, Episode 5 of Doctor Who, and that's just the first half. Then we're going to dig deeper, because in the second half, after a nice little intermission, so everybody could take their bio breaks and grab a snack or whatever, or get more tea or coffee, whatever your beverage of choice is. Just make sure you do. Yeah, make sure you bring something. What are you drinking now, Stan?
I've got 2 things. I got coffee, and I've got a double dose of Emergency, which is vitamin C and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is actually pretty tasty too.
Yeah.
You ever put it in your tea?
I haven't.
I like tea with a little bit of citrus flavor in there. Nice. Some citrus accents.
Mm-hmm.
OP. So the second half. Here's what we have in the second half. You wanna tell everybody what we have in the second half?
Oh, you're gonna make me work now.
Yep.
So, second half. Looks like everyone is saying there are big problems and little problems going on in episode 5. Then we're going to listen to the comments and hear all sorts of awesome thoughts. We'll do the soft kitty magic. And then it's the outro and shout-outs, followed by the extras, and who knows how long that's going to go. But we've got...
That's our post-show,
That's our post-show, man. So we got some further episode 6 speculation, what's going to happen tonight. A look ahead. I think you're leading that one on all of Series 8. A prelude to the apocalypse. And then we're going to talk about Selfie. And we're not talking about our pictures.
And I'll put in parentheses here, the zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
If we even get into that, we might, it's not necessarily going to be in chronological order. So, just a heads up. But in the chat, we got a bunch of people already, and some lurkers, I'm sure. Spathizilla is saying that your mom is OP. She is OP. Your mom's really cool. I got to meet her just recently, actually. Yeah, she's really cool. Moms are cool. Cool moms are cool. Bad mom, not so much. But there's bad dads too, so it could go either way, right?
Yeah.
And then King Deem says he's about to have some tea out of his Doctor Who mug. Nice. My Doctor Who mug is awesome. This is my birthday from last year, actually. I got a bunch of Doctor Who swag. And now my Doctor Who mug no longer... The TARDIS doesn't disappear and reappear anymore. Makes me a little sad, yeah. I didn't put it through the dishwasher. I followed the instructions. Don't put it through the dishwasher. You know, don't wash with soap. Just rinse out with hot water. I did that, and it's defective now. Oh well. I still drink out of it because it makes me happy. But guys, some quick housekeeping and announcements, of, which is including that housekeeping. But in less than a month, we're gonna be at Walker Stalker Con in Atlanta. Walker Stalker Con 2014, yo. And if you're free the weekend of October 17th, we definitely would love for you to join us. I'm still trying to see who from our team can make it from, between the All Games Network and Geeky Antics Network. See if we can gather a bunch of folks together and do great things and just hang out and stuff. Be cool.
You should get Nick to come up.
Oh gosh, ooh, that'd be dangerous. King Deem is awesome, but he is dangerous.
What about Andy, man?
I would love Andy to come down, but I don't think it's in the cards for him. It's harder for him because he's overseas.
Yeah.
But we'd have fun. We'd break him out of his introvert shell, force him to help us do some coverage. We're gonna interview some of the fans and take photos. We're gonna bring the awesome.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Stan? I'm sorry, I completely clipped you like an amateur.
No, I just said yeah.
Oh,
I was backing you up, bro.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say something before that. My bad. But Tyreclaw in the chat says, speaking of con, is there a Doctor Who con? Yeah, there's what is it, Gallifrey 5? There's a bunch of them, but I know there's one called Gallifrey 5 or Gallifrey 1. Gallifrey 1. I don't know why I said 5. But it's something like that. But there's a bunch of them. They tend to be more smaller conventions. From what I understand, from what I hear from our counterparts in the UK, they do a lot more conventions, but they tend to be a smaller scale and more tightly knit. Whereas here in the States, we have huge conventions, but not that many of them. So I think both. I don't know. I think I kind of would prefer a smaller convention with higher engagement. But the thing with the smaller conventions, you don't get as much of a turnout in terms of the famous people. But it doesn't really matter, right?
Right. Well, do they do one in Atlanta?
I haven't looked into that.
Yeah, check that out.
Yeah.
I mean, there is Dragon Con, which was last month, and a lot of sci-fi people were there. My cousin was there. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, Dragon Con has become much bigger. It's gone well beyond, Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy. It's a little bit of everything now. It's the same thing with Comic Con. But Dragon Con still feels a little more like underground and niche to me. I've been to it and I enjoy it, but it's like Comic Con feels like it's permeated more in mainstream culture, right?
Right.
Dragon Con is still kind of like, I think it still has the stigma of that's where the nerds gather. I'm okay with that. Because I consider myself a geek or a nerd. I consider that a compliment. So, what's in the word, right? Words, they have the meaning you give them a lot of the time.
True.
But now, without further ado, one of our favorite parts, when we share comments. You ready for this?
Oh yeah.
And Andy just said in the chat that he would go, but there's a big ocean. By the way, just a little heads up, and also to remind ourselves, this is a family-friendly show, so we try to keep it clean as far as the language and the themes we discuss. I would say we're rated PG, though there's not really a PG on iTunes. It's either E for everyone or explicit. There's like no gradient. So we're in the middle, PG. But we like to, yeah, right?
Yeah, we try to keep it happy.
Yeah, and our own community has said that we're a very sensitive podcast, and that means a lot to us. I know there's lots of broadcasts out there where they talk about all kinds of stuff, bodily functions and whatnot, and then it's like, okay, it's funny to, but after a little while, it's like, all right. So you can swear on a PG rating as long as only once.
Hey, that's good to know.
Once per instance of each swear word. I'm kidding. There are like some places where there's stipulations like that. It's funny. Even broadcast television, they've been pushing the limit on that. I remember I remember X-Files at one point. they like started like saying things that like I remember suddenly like it was like overnight. All of a sudden, every show started like saying words that you normally did not hear. Like, huh? Did I just hear that right? And I'm not talking about like frack, you know.
They pushed the boundaries.
They did. They have. They're still doing it. And actually, in the poster, we'll get into that. By the way, let's get into the comments. So, Luke Mulders writes. He says, "Do you know what it feels like to be betrayed?" Betrayal, a great device for writers to use because very few things hit home as much as betrayal, right? I mean, that pulls at the heartstrings. Betrayal just
It cuts them.
it cuts you deep, man. I mean, I don't think. I mean, who doesn't know what betrayal feels like? Every human knows betrayal. For some of us, you know, maybe more than us than realize, betrayal really comes from within. Because, you know, honestly, we betray ourselves a lot. Because, you know, how many people put on masks? You know, they try to be what they're not so they can fit in. You know, or represent themselves a certain way. They're betraying themselves. They're betraying their true self, and that's probably the worst kind of betrayal. Sometimes people don't realize that until it's too late. Betrayal from a loved one, that stings. You know, being cheated on, being abandoned. I mean, oof, a lot of things we can talk about there.
That's a dark place.
It is a dark place, and Doctor Who, to bring it back, there's been a lot of betrayal, and I get a sense personally. We haven't had much of a chance to talk about this too much, Stan, because we've both been super busy playing catch up, and we got a bunch of projects going on and brainstorming. But actually, we do have some really good stuff, by the way.
So has Claire betrayed the 12th Doctor by her romantic interest in Danny Pink?
Yeah, that's one thing, and I feel there's a bigger betrayal coming. Like they're doing these little baby betrayals. And then there's going to be something so big. You're going to be stuck on these little petty things like, oh, Clara's kind of flirting with the Doctor and vice versa. Wait, this was supposed to be a non-flirty Doctor, right? So we're being betrayed there because they lied to us. I mean, I don't mind. I don't think that has to be a thing. There's nothing wrong with the Doctor being flirty. He's got that human side. That's part of his character. But let's not get back into that. We talked about that last episode during our last show, but yeah, Danny Pink thing is significant, but I think there's something bigger coming. What do you think, Stan?
Yeah, you know, that would be you know how the betrayal could be an interesting device? Clara walks out on the Doctor and he has to grow up. That would be cool. I would accept that.
I really see that coming. And you know what? At first, I was looking forward to that, and now I'm kind of saddened by that prospect because I like her now. I really do. I like her again. I liked her last season.
And that's the perfect time for her to walk out.
That's true, and
leave us with happy memories.
That's true. Before they're like she overstays her welcome, or they do something terrible with her again. Right. Another slap, perhaps. A slap that's out of place. It's good that she's keeping the Doctor in check, because someone has to, but. Some things, I don't know, don't sit right with us. But, yeah, and Martha Jones, we talked about this before. I love Martha Jones because she was able to walk away. And she was crazy about the Doctor. But she chose when the adventure ended, you know? And that's empowering right there. Next comment. Why don't you take this one?
All right. So, Juan Leitz writes, I feel stuck in a place where there's no love, no hope, and no listening. That's kind of that's taking us deep and dark too.
Yeah, we're gonna have to liven this up soon. That is and by the way, you could blame me because I rounded up these comments. At the time, they were the first comments we got early in the week.
Right.
And by the way, if we don't feature your comments, please don't take it personally. I wish we could just go through all the comments. There's not enough time to do that, and then give them proper attention and reflect upon them. But every comment we've gotten is quality, even the spammers.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do we say to Juan? Because we don't want to just ignore his request for
well,
acceptance.
You know, yeah, exactly. And You know, last week that was one of the things I revealed when we talked about fears, and we could have gone even deeper on that. I even thought I reflected upon that even further. I prayed upon it. I meditated on it, and it's like, wow, you know, when you start owning your fears, it's really liberating, because then you know what you need to work on, and how much more you have to focus on the good in your life and the beauty around you, and the prospect of not being listened to. Like you said, by extension, not being accepted. That hurts.
Yes, it does.
You know, because that kills your hope, and that kills your sense of love. You know, it's a terrible place to. It's a really bad place to be, where you feel like no one's listening. And I think in part that's why a lot of us do podcasting and we do YouTube or Twitch, because it offsets that feeling of no one's listening and no one cares. You know, so you try to find that connection in other places. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's important to also be healthy in those efforts and try to nurture your other relationships. You know, all right, is no one listening to me, or is it maybe that I'm so stuck, you know, on myself that it feels like no one's listening? Maybe I'm not listening well, and I'm projecting that onto others.
Right.
But in order for people to listen to you, you have to listen as much, if not more, right? What do you think?
Exactly. And, you know, we hear you, Juan. If you're in a place where there's no love and no hope, I think we can bring it. We can bring the love and the hope to the place. And that's not saying you're not trying, because maybe you're trying really hard. But I think, you know, keep doing it. Don't give up.
Yep. You know, it's a lot of times too, what I find is, if you look for a problem or you dwell on an issue, you perpetuate it further. You know, Stan, you saw me go off on a tangent about Gamergate, and I wasn't trying to be dismissive towards the attitudes and concerns there, but the thing is, when we look for problems and we just dwell on the problems, we take on an attitude that breeds that problem or nurtures it further. You know, hate begets hate, right? So maybe if you feel no one's listening, you stop listening, or your heart hardens somehow. And, you know, I'm not saying that's Juan's case, but, you know, just general, you know, advice.
Right.
If you feel lonely, reach out to people further. If you feel like no one's listening to you, listen better.
He reached out to us, man.
He did. And that shows a lot of courage. That's more than most people could do. So,
oh yeah,
good on you, man. And that's a very powerful message, and it's relevant because, you know, the episode, was it last episode? Yeah, episode 4, the last episode we discussed on the show was listen. And, you know, I know we said that they could have gone deeper with all the themes there, but just the premise of it is brilliant. Let's just give it that, right?
Yep.
All right.
Next one.
Next one. Doris Penta writes, I like the thing you said about how death doesn't change how we feel about each other. Ooh. Now, refresh my memory, Stan, because, you know, my memory is like all over the place. I got like 100 things in my mind at once, which is why I ramble on. But what was it that we said about death? You recall?
I think I should have looked this up. It was a quote. I think I was quoting a sermon on death.
Oh, from Leftovers. Was it that?
Yeah. Well, was it from Leftovers? No, because I think somehow I found it, and yeah, I don't know. We'll have to get back to that one, man.
Well, do you remember the general idea?
Yeah, the general idea was that just because someone has died doesn't mean they don't exist. And the sermon was kind of like a poem about, you know, just because I'm dead doesn't mean that you can't talk to me. Doesn't mean that you can't laugh with me. And yeah, it was a great poem.
I remember now what you were talking about. I forgot who wrote the poem, but it definitely was a profound message there. But I'm trying to recall if we went deep, if we had the opportunity to go deep on that, you know, because I would think that'd be something we would go deep on, especially for someone to pull that out.
Is that, I forget, what episode is that for us?
I want to say it was
Was it 3 or 4?
we're on 6 right now, so yeah, it was probably 4. 4 sounds right to me.
Mm.
But here's what I said in the comments. Doesn't it though? So doesn't death change how we feel about each other? How many people do we appreciate much more once they are gone? We tend to take greatness and kindness for granted until it is taken from us. And love works in a similar manner. So basically, what I said in my response is, when people die, then we suddenly stop to think about how much they matter to us. But by then, it's too late to tell them that. That's the other side of it.
Right.
And people definitely live on. Some people more than others, but they definitely live on. No?
Yes. I believe it.
Yes. Ooh, and I just did a boo-boo here. I just realized I changed the... I made a mistake on Twitch.
I found it. I found the poem. I found it on geekyantics.net. So the guy that, the sermon, it was a 1910 sermon on death by Henry Scott Holland. If you want to check it out, or just come to geekyantics.net for our recap on episode 4, and the poem is quoted there.
Well, thank you to King Dean. He pointed out there was something wrong in the video. I actually caught it myself, and then I saw that he was talking about it. It's hard to multitask. I'm looking at a bunch of different things at once, and then trying to keep the conversation going along. So everybody on YouTube just got, I don't know, like 10 minutes of another scene that I have on Twitch. They got some video.
Ooh.
They got to see me. It just happened. They got video, and I think they probably saw...
Oh, they got a sneak peek.
They did. Let's get to make us for a good video. But anyway, let's move on. My bad, guys. All right, so this is a good one here. BFT 9000, aka Anthony, he wrote us on our forums, our official TWTT forums on geekyantics.net.
Awesome.
And the question we asked, because recently it was Billie Piper's birthday. She turned 32, I believe, on the 22nd of September. And she was voted the best companion, at least of the new series, 2005 onward. And so we asked, who is your favorite champion? Your favorite companion? Or champion, sure. So, this is what Anthony says. Rose Tyler was a really good character. The whole Bad Wolf angle really neat because it opened up so many options that the writers can pull on from time to time. Take, for instance, the 50th anniversary episode. Did the weapon actually have an AI, or was it Rose while she was connected to the rift? I like to think it was the latter. I know you're out there, bubble bursters. Let my bubble float. Plus the references in later episodes.
Like that.
Yeah, it is good. It's very good. He's going deep.
Yeah, he is.
Plus the references in later episodes and in Torchwood are nice touches. But for best companion, sorry, I gotta go with Martha Jones. Yes! I put the yes is me, by the way.
She's awesome.
She was smart on her own and didn't have to rely on the doctor for everything. Also, that she was able to realize that it was time for her to leave the doctor and make a clean break with no regrets is something that I liked.
Yes.
I do. I am with you 100%. Like I love Amy Pond and I dig Rose Tyler, but those are easy choices. I like, and I'm a bit of a rebel, so that might be part of another reason I like Martha. But yeah, guys, don't forget, if you want to join the conversation, where can they connect with us, Sam?
YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, and geekyantics.net.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we're also gonna have comment thread, comment stream, and I believe we'll also have a forum on allgames.com as well. Don't quote me on the latter, but yeah, that's in the works. I started getting that officially in motion this morning.
Awesome.
Derek's a very busy guy. Let's be
Yes,
easy.
he is.
But let's get on here, because now is part of the time where we talk about what Doctor Who is. Who's who? So, Doctor Who is a sci-fi television series that's been going on for 50 plus years. It's about a strange sort of man who travels all of time and space. Most of the time, he takes someone or some people along for the adventure. They're called companions, or as I like to think of them, champions. Yeah, that was my Freudian slip.
No,
I guess
like
it works.
that.
Yeah, it works. The choice of the word companion is important because this does not necessarily imply any romantic interest, but it's usually there. The Doctor that's his name, the Doctor, or it's a title / name of sorts.
Right.
And for all practical purposes, he has worn more than a few faces, but regardless of his face, the Doctor remains the same lovable and intelligent alien man traveling space and time in a blue box. The blue box is the TARDIS. It's a spaceship, a time machine, and it's bigger on the inside. Now, it's important to note, if you're not in the know, TARDIS is an acronym, and it stands for Time and Relative Dimension in Space. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Yay! Tell us more, Stan.
So, the Doctor is supposed to be a hero. He's supposed to show us how to live up to our potential as human beings. Of course, just like us, he needs a little help from his friends, and sometimes he makes mistakes.
Does he?
He does.
By the way, in the chat, they said don't forget his companions are sometimes things like K9, and I'm a big fan, huge fan of K9. Huge.
K9 is awesome.
There was a podcast, I forgot which one it was, but they did they did a spoof, a guest host K10 and they have him soundboard responses. I thought that was very clever. I know Derek doesn't like soundboards, but I had thought about doing something like that. Someone else beat us to it. Darn. Because K9 is awesome, and he's just so freaking. He's kind of salty, but in an endearing way, you know. Tiger Claw says you could say the TARDIS is smaller on the outside, but see,
yes.
Peter Capaldi said that he doesn't like that much. It works better the other way around. Remember he said that.
Yeah.
They have a lot of clever one-liners, and you know, the dialogue's pretty good too. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. But so, you know, since we're talking about the hero, we have to ask, what is a hero? The late Joseph Campbell was the expert on the hero. George Lucas even had the mythical Campbell sit as an advisor for Star Wars. An American mythologist and fan of the great psychoanalyst Carl Jung, Campbell believed that the hero not only faced danger, but his or her own victory must represent a victory for all humanity. That's a tall order. That's a tall order. You have anything to add to that?
It ain't easy being a hero.
Well, in the cynic's view, the definition of a hero is someone that gets people killed. And there's some writers that go there.
Yes.
You know, like the hero is someone that's really good at saving his own behind. And that's such a dark place to take the heroics. But we also talked about this. You know, the foolish idealism of a fearless hero. That's also boring too. I want a hero that's humanized, has his fears, but finds ways to, if not conquer them, deal with them and work around them and embrace his strengths, you know?
Right. I mean, that's part of what being a hero is about. It's about being afraid and overcoming your fears. It's about facing pain and feeling that pain, but still, you know, overcoming everything and saving us from ourselves.
There we go again. We could be our own worst enemy. Sometimes we betray ourselves. Good callback, bro.
Yeah.
So I understand we have an epic poetry moment coming.
Yes, we do.
I wish I had a sound for this. All right, go ahead. Let us have it.
Epic poetry moment. So there's a poem.
I like that. Me gusta.
There's a poem by the American poet E. Cummings that captures the excitement and admiration for the hero, the kind of excitement and admiration we should have for the hero. And so I'm going to read it. It's called Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill's defunct, who used to ride a water-smooth silver stallion and break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pigeons just like that. Jesus, he was a handsome man. And what I want to know is, how do you like your blue-eyed boy, Mr. Death?
I like the way that the text is written, formatted in a very deliberate manner to create the dramatic pauses and really have a certain kind of flow. That's brilliant. And if you know what's sad, the English language is devolving because of social media and people not knowing how to. I'm gonna say social media is bad. You know, I love social media as much as you do, and we work with social media. That's part of what we do for a living. But you know, it's getting people lazy, and people don't use punctuation.
It's true.
So everything sounds like how blah blah blah. Like, all right, take a breath. Remember that period is like a 2-second pause. It's important.
Yeah.
Read it as such. But before we go deep, just a reminder, we are live right now on allgames.com and twitch.tv/geekyantics every Saturday at noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in London. And, you know, the other time conversions, well, you could go to the beginning of the show and we share that. If you missed the live show, you can view our clips, and we use that term very loosely, on youtube.com/geekyantics. And also, we have the videos embedded on geekyantics.net/videos. So you have lots of places to connect. You know, we're also on Spreaker now. So if you're already on Spreaker, you can look us up. We can become Facebook friends in the process. We're usually good about following back. So yeah, lots of ways to connect. Oh, we're on TuneIn Radio. We're all over the place. It's exciting times. Right, Sam?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tiger Claw has a question for us.
But let us
Yes. All right. When the doctor regenerates, does he retain the memories of his previous form? I noticed how each version of Doctor Who has a different companion. Does he have memories of a past life?
And actually, this is perfect because I think it was right on episode 1 or 0, was it? It was a pilot episode. I think we went into that. We talked about regeneration. It's a key theme, a recurring theme in the series, and they have given us lots of rules for regeneration, and there's still a certain degree of mystique to it, right? So right now, the story arc has the Doctor at a loss because he's lost his memories, and that usually happens, but not to this degree. It's almost as if he's restarted his life cycle, and now he's a child as far as his social skills and maturity, but his knowledge is still there, or at least coming back faster than his, you know, more human elements. I don't know. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I do. I was writing in All Games chat.
Oh, yeah, look at it. Everybody's coming together here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm loving it. The support is awesome, guys. Keep coming. You know, ideally, if you can watch the video and then leave the All Game stream going, even if you mute it, that'd be awesome. You know, so show love to our All Games community and our partners on that side, and you know, then you get to watch the video and see if I make a mistake and switch the scene or something. Oh, I still can't believe that. It's gonna be fun looking at that later. There, so people that wanted to know what I look like, there you go. So they could. It's not like I'm hiding it. Anyway, yeah, leave us voicemails, guys. That's another way. And I put our mailing list link on in the chat. We are on MailChimp. If you just go to geekyantics.net, you can use a subscription form on the sidebar to get on our mailing list and become a VIP in our ecosystem, in our wonderful community. It's also on the bottom of the page if you click the Geeky Antics Network logo, and then you can subscribe there. But if you're not much for email, there's also voicemail. You can leave us voicemail at 1-206-415-4987. Again, 1-206-415-4987. And if you're calling outside the U.S., it's going to probably be a 00 before you do the 1. I'm pretty sure people know if they do international calls, they know how to do the outside call. Or Google it if all else fails. Or Yahoo it, because Google's not available in every country, apparently. And some people use that other system, what's it called, Alibaba or whatever, or Ali something, I don't know. But let's talk about Series 8. You ready, Stan?
Alibaba is, I think, the Chinese thing.
Is it? Yeah. I remember somewhere they have like other search engines that are more popular.
Right.
I don't blame them because Google's kind of becoming like Skynet. It's scary, and they're buying all these robotics companies. So
They will be Skynet.
dude.
They have so much money, they don't know what to do with it right now. They're laying cables across the ocean when, everyone else already did that. And it was like, we'll just lay our own.
Yep. Yeah. That's some crazy stuff, dude. And everybody's like worried. A lot of us geeks are focused on the zombie apocalypse. What about the freaking robot apocalypse?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's more likely and coming sooner than anything else. Ooh, scary. But yeah, Series 8. So if you want a deeper look on the 12th Doctor and Series 8 as a whole, be sure to check out episodes 3 and 4 together. I will listen to them side by side. You can skip around a little bit if you want to. No, we won't take offense to that. But yeah, listen to episodes 3 and 4 of TWTT on our Geeky Antics YouTube channel, or on one of our many podcast feeds. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Zune, Spreaker, a bunch of things. But just a quick rundown. So far in the series, the Doctor has had an intimate conversation with a lady T-Rex. He's thwarted the murderous plot of a cyborg with harvested human parts. He's toyed with the soul of a Dalek, stopped an unintended robotic plot that would have wiped out half the world, and took a long look at the end of the world, all life in the universe. What's interesting too is that usually the Doctor was unable to go to the end of the universe or the end of the world or whatever, or the end of time.
The end of time.
They switch around the terminology, but
right.
Effectively the same thing, right?
Right.
But the safeguards in the TARDIS have been removed by some idiot, quote unquote.
He did it. He does it himself at the beginning of the episode, and then he forgets.
Oh. Ooh. But yeah, the Doctor also in the last episode rescued a monster that eats the minds of its victims. Ooh. I know it's not very tasty. But man, what else?
It doesn't look pretty either.
It doesn't look pretty, but it's also kind of funny at the same time. And I shouldn't laugh at it. That's a terrible thing. Terrible thing to laugh at. But yeah, let's talk about last week's episode. Episode 5, titled Time Heist. And again, we're in Series 8 now of the revival series of Doctor Who. Because some people call it a reboot, but no, it's not really a reboot because there's still continuity.
It is.
But so yeah, the Doctor and company break into a super bank where the richest people in the universe store prized possessions and wealth. The architect, the unidentified mastermind of the heist, speaks from a recorded message. Dun dun dun.
This is a recorded message. I am the architect. Your last memory is of receiving a contact from an unknown agency. Me. Everything since has been erased from your minds. Now pay close attention to this briefing. This is the Bank of Karabraxos, the most secure bank in the galaxy, a fortress for the super rich. If you can afford your own star system, this is where you keep it. No one sets foot on the planet without protocols. All movement is monitored. All air consumption regulated. DNA is authenticated at every stage. Intruders will be incinerated. Each vault, buried deep in the earth, is assessed by a drop slot at the planet's surface. Its atomically sealed and unbreakable lock. The atoms have all been scrambled. Your presence on this planet is unauthorized. A team will be dispatched to terminate you. Your survival depends on following my instructions.
It's a very, very good opening, right?
That was pretty awesome.
I mean, from the onset, it's intense as heck.
It was epic.
It was epic, and we don't use that word lightly.
No, we don't.
Let's talk about that real quick. Don't we live in a time where everything's superlatives, and it kind of ruins the whole purpose of superlatives? It's like I do it myself. I say awesome and nice, but really sometimes I just mean cool or that's good, you know. But it's like now we feel like we have to go above and beyond. Like, that is the best ever. Oh, that is awesome. I love that. Do you really love it? Do you really love it? Do you want to put a ring on it? Do you? Just saying. I'll put that out there. But anyway, quick tangent. I'm sorry. But before we delve deeper into episode 5, Time Heist, it's worth noting that this is probably one of the most divisive episodes yet in Series 8. Our fellow Whovians either absolutely loved it or they hated it. Donnie765, a member of the Timey-Wimey Tea Time community, pulls no punches when he shares his disappointment in the YouTube comments. He writes, Time Heist was a flop. It's a bad love story. It's a pathetic heist. There's nothing worth quoting. There's no mounting tension. Holy crap! Tell us how you really feel.
That's awesome.
And we're not making fun of you, Donnie. I'm just saying, like, it's funny because it's true.
It is.
No mounting tension. That's a big opportunity with writing as a whole. I see this in books. I see this in movies. I see him in TV, anime. It's a big issue. It's like people never learn the basics. Like, all right, build the climax, and then you have the denouement, the falling action. And I probably butchered the French word, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? The falling action. You can't have a falling action. You can't have a real resolution if you don't have a climax to begin with.
Right.
It's like everything's happy, go lucky, and then it ends happily ever after. What? Where was the tension? What? Okay. Like some people say that they hate Lion King because there's no it's a 2-act story. There's no third act or something like that. And I kind of see that. You ever heard that before?
Well, I mean, I understand when we're doing a kid's story and you don't want to cause too much stress. But Doctor Who isn't a kid's story anymore.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. But yeah. Let us know what you think. You can tell us your thoughts in the chat here and now, later in YouTube, or in our recap post section, the comment section, or you can call in 1206-415-4987. By the way, the recap posts are on geekyantics.net, and if you just want to go straight to the blog portion, just go geekyantics.net/blog. And again, the phone number is 1206-415-4987. Now, real quick in the chat. King Deem said, this is a little off topic, but the episode, listen, that home, wasn't that the same place River was taken as a child? Ooh, River Song. He's talking about River Song. You know, I was beginning to wonder because, they have had orphanages before and children's homes and whatnot. There was that episode with the Silence, remember, where they went to an orphanage and Iman was there, and then there was a kind of weird time paradox thing going on.
That would be a great tie-in for them to come back to.
It would, and I hope that that's what they're going for. Like, I would hate that it just happened to work out that that's a set that they just reused or a location they reused. Ooh, I hope that's deliberate.
What if Danny knew River Song?
Oh gosh, that I would like. I like I said before, I feel like River Song didn't get the full. They didn't really flesh out her story as much as they should have. So if they could start tying in things like that and bringing it back like that, that'd be awesome.
Yes, it would.
So let's go back to Time Heist. What do you think about the episode?
Okay. Well, some say Time Heist is a wibbly-wobbly and unsuccessful attempt to capture the entertainment value of Ocean's 12 or the fun of the British TV show The Hustler, and perhaps the intrigue of Moffat's other show, Sherlock. Dun, dun, dun.
So, Stan, you've caught what many of our friends and supporters in the TWT community have noticed. It's just Whovians as a whole. I'm catching this everywhere. Excuse me, I'm a little gassy, guys. Hope it didn't come out of the mic. But the Doctor has become quite Sherlockian, yeah. He's a bit of a sociopath right now.
Exactly. I mean, there's parallel. And perhaps unintended confusion and mashup of the Sherlock and Doctor personality. I mean, Sherlock is a hugely successful British television crime drama created by the same Stephen Moffat, who's kind of directing and writing the Series 8 of Doctor Who, and Mark Gatiss, or Gatiss, who knows how to, I don't know how to say his name.
I'm pretty sure it's Gatiss.
Okay, Gatiss. And Gatiss wrote episode 4, The Robot of Sherwood. So, the Sherlock TV show is a contemporary adaptation of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes detective stories. And Moffat's Sherlock, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, is cold, techie, and Asperger-ish.
So sidebar here is Asperger disorder, or simply Asperger's, or some people like to say it, instead of Asperger's they go Asperger's. I've heard that, and I'm not trying to cuss, but that's what people say.
And we're not making fun of people with Asperger's.
No, definitely not. It's a serious thing. But for those of you that don't know, it's an autism spectrum disorder, ASD for short. And it's characterized by a person who has great challenges in their social interactions and nonverbal communication. They also tend to have restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior and interests. So what it does in effect, it kind of ostracizes people, alienates them a bit because they have trouble forming that human connection. Would that be fair?
Yeah, exactly. And Cumberbatch's Sherlock is kind of awkward, arrogant, genius, and I'd say deeply insecure. But so is the 12th Doctor. So here's the problem. Maybe we can accept Sherlock as an anti-hero. His failures as a human, his sociopathic / Asperger tendencies. But the Doctor never was deeply insecure. He's always had a deep fondness for the human species, and he doesn't take pleasure in playing dangerous games of wit. Also, Sherlock's an adult TV show, whereas Doctor Who was supposed to be a kid's show.
Yeah, and Doctor Who has certainly deviated from its origins as a kid's show. But it's still meant to be family friendly, and be enjoyed by the masses, for lack of a better word. Now that's a little questionable, but I want to backpedal real quick. Tiger Claw in the chat asked, what we think about Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Sherlock. I think he's a much more likable Sherlock.
I agree.
Cumberbatch is great, but the way he's written, he's pretty punchable.
Well, Robert Downey Jr. always brings this sense of vulnerability and warm insecurity. So, if you tell him that he's made a mistake, you can see pain in his eyes.
Yes.
And he brings that to every role, even as Iron Man. So, Cumberbatch, Cumberbatch hasn't been to rehab enough to bring the pain.
I was just gonna say that it helps when especially if you're a method actor that really gets immerses in the role. If you have that real life experience, that real pain, you can really bring it into your roles, and that's what makes Robert Downey Jr. brilliant. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of him.
Me too.
But so let's go back to the Doctor, the topic at hand. So you're saying that the Doctor is a superhero of the alien kind. He should be a classical hero, a person of high moral character, compassion, and courage. Someone to love strongly. Or that's how he should be written, right? Now, the Doctor should not be written as a contemporary, accidental, or adult hero who stumbles blindly through the world. And actually, Isaac of Jamaica, who's called in several times, says similar in one of his most recent call-ins. Shall we listen to what he has to say?
Yeah, man. Isaac always has something good to say.
Yes, he's going deep with us, and we appreciate you, man. Here we go.
The Doctor says, no castles, no damsels in distress, no such thing as Robin Hood. Has someone or some people lost an understanding of the Doctor, a larger-than-life legend? Maybe the 12th Doctor is not the only one confused about his identity. Maybe the writers are confused. Maybe the directors are confused. The Doctor is a hero. A hero does the things we long to do. A hero does what we would do if fear did not stand in our path. A hero faces great challenges because, as Stan said it, love never fails. Remember this, my friends. We all long for the heroic. We all are called to be heroes. We are called to do excellent things. And if the Doctor fails to speak to our hearts about this truth, the Doctor is no longer worthy of our attention. If the Doctor fails to be heroic, the Doctor is no longer worthy of our admiration and enthusiasm.
Woo! I think you said it all right there. I mean, you know,
I wish we could get Isaac to join us online, but that's a little bit difficult for him.
Yeah, I mean, Skype usually helps, but you know, it's unreliable within the same country. And then you introduce borders, and then it gets a little special. But you know, in the future, we would like we definitely are planning to do some Google Hangouts. I think that'll lend itself better to people coming in and we just hang out, just casually talk about it without worrying about time constraints and whatnot. But Tycho says he was expecting to hear him say, "There's a Doctor Who in all of us," and to a degree that's true. I think Doctor Who very much, you know, the Doctor represents hope, and that's why we're kind of bitter and disappointed with this current iteration, because he's kind of ugly, for lack of a better word. He's not something we can admire. He's not someone we can admire. That's not good. There's times when he does shine. We need to see more of that. It needs to be more of that and less of the parts where we see him, you know, do things that are questionable. The questionable aspects cannot be him all the time. Is that fair, Stan?
That is. It was funny. Tiger Claw was saying, you know, he was expecting Isaac to say, "There's a Doctor Who in all of us," and yeah, man, there is. There's a little Who in all of us, just like Nick's saying. We're heroes.
I think I said that already. Stan cannot multitask
right now.
I know the chat's. I know it's hard. The chat's very lively right now. We're about to break off into an intermission, but real quick, let's see what we got in the chat. So just backtracking a little bit more. So back to what we're talking about, the orphanage that they show in the episode Listen, and they had shown in the whole sequence. Again, spoilers. That's kind of expected, right? When Amy had River's Song taken away from her. And the silence was there. That was the name of the enemy that was in that episode, the silence. And Nick makes a good point. The guy in Listen, the guy that was like the caretaker or custodian, or just, you know, working in the night shift, overseeing the child's home, the children's home rather. He was forgetting stuff, and he seemed like he was a little bit out of it. Like, you know, if you're exposed to the silence for too long, it kind of makes you a little derp. You know, you get a little derpy. Do you think maybe the silence was at work there?
It's possible.
You know, and I think that'd be cool. I want to see less of the Daleks and the Cybermen. They've been overused. It's a massive universe.
How about this? How about Moffat demonstrate some creativity and create a new enemy that is an old enemy, but is more awesome than all the rest?
Yeah. Someone is not the master.
Someone who's not the master. Yeah, don't make the enemy the Time Lords, because the Time Lords are OP. But someone else. Make someone else OP.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much to work with already that it's just taking a little bit of effort to create new adversaries, and they need to do that. Expand the universe, because it feels like the universe is getting smaller instead of larger.
Exactly.
Now, on the flip side, it's nice to have those callbacks and revisiting those old locales, but we need to get past that, I think. What else we got in the chat here? Aha! Andy says, 1 hour and 30 minutes until I can watch the next episode. Take that! Darn you, being 5 hours or 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
See, Andy is talking to us from the future, dude.
He is.
Whoa, mind is blown. Real life time travel. Oh, and BFT says, for extinct races, there sure are a lot of them. Well, that's the beauty of time travel, is you could always undo something that was resolved before, because things happen out of sync. Because, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. Right? That fixes everything.
Exactly.
A few more rounds of comments here from the chat, and then we're going to go into intermission, so everybody grab a snack and all that good stuff. Andy says he is a TARDIS designer. That's good. That's why we have him on the team. We need that. We could travel the world without having to deal with TSA, long lines, rude people, bad body odor, etc. Important. I love traveling insofar as the endpoints are concerned, but the actual process of traveling, not so much. Unless you meet cool people that you can have a real conversation with. That makes it fun. But, alright, so King Deem says, also, the school Clara and Rupert work in Place of Significance, the same school that Ian Chesterton and Barbara Wright were working in back in 1963.
Yeah.
When they first met. Yes, it is the same school. What is it, Coal Hill?
Yes, Coal Hill.
Yep, I caught that too. And when they first met a strange young lady in there called Susan Foreman, the doctor's granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and though at some point I think in the audiobooks or some of the other stuff that wasn't part of the TV series, they said that wasn't his granddaughter or some craziness. So it's possible that Jenny might be the only real family that the Doctor has alive right now, which might explain why he feels so lonely. Just put that out there. Maybe he needs to plant his seeds or something. I don't know. That sounds terrible. Alright, you ready for a little break? Recharge on the coffee and maybe grab half of a smoke? Well, it doesn't make a difference to you, but to me it does.
Yeah.
You guys ready? You guys ready for a little break? Yeah! That'd be cool if we could just get everybody in here like real quick, like voice chat, and just to get a big cheer going.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then vote them off, get them off the call again.
I just dump them one by one. Bing.
Yeah, maybe have a little group that we could mute and unmute en masse.
There you go.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning into this first half. We'll be back with the second half, and we're gonna go deeper, and then we'll do a pre-show. I'm actually pretty caffeinated and pretty excited right now. Not that I wasn't last Saturday, but I was still recovering from the OP business trip. It took its toll on me. I don't know if you can notice. I don't know if you notice the difference now. Right? I'm hyped right now.
That was a long train ride.
Long train ride, and then lugging around stuff, and then waiting and dealing with delays. Oh gosh,
that was hectic.
But it's never gonna be as bad as the time that I had to sleep at airport when Eastern was still around. Oh. And it was like a 2-day wait in the airport.
Wow,
that was the worst. It was kind of cool though, because you realize, well, I had nothing else to do other than hanging out with everybody, and they give us vouchers, so we got to eat breakfast and lunch and dinner and hang out. That's the only way you can afford airport stuff. And I was like, you want a iced tea? $10. What? This better have some gold nuggets in there or something.
All right, man. Play the music.
Well, one last thing. BFT says, suddenly companions take Firefly's definition. Ooh. A man after my own heart making a connection to Firefly.
Oh, yeah.
We might have to come back to that.
Yeah.
And you know, the beautiful part about Firefly, even though it sucks at the same time, is that it's only, 12, 13 episodes. You can always go back and rewatch it and enjoy it again.
True. And you don't have to make a major commitment.
Exactly. You could marathon watch that, no problem.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Alright. We'll be back, guys.
You're listening to the Timey-Wimey Tea Time Podcast, a geekyantics.net production where lovely and amazing people talk and ponder anything and everything about Doctor Who, science fiction, fantasy, zombies, the end of the world, creativity, writing and, oh heck yes, anything else that geeks speak, question and think.
Timey-Wimey Tea Time.
Me gusta.